Just the two of us. Just the two of us. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're having a lovely, beautiful, astounding day. And if it's the start of your day, I hope that it becomes that. If it's the end of your day, hope it was that. Let's go ahead, if you don't mind, let's go ahead and listen to some Yes. Let's listen to some Magnification. So many of you guys have been asking for this album, and I mean, all the others really. I'm pretty sure every album has been mentioned at some point. But a lot of you have been asking for this album, Magnification 2001. We're skipping ahead. We just listened to Time and a Word, and now we're going, we're just jumping ahead in the future. The latest album that I had listened to from Yes was 90125. Now we are going way past that because this is their 19th studio album. That's a lot. That's a lot. Now, just reading on here, this is their final album to feature John Anderson, which is interesting, because I know that like there was a lot of back and forth and all that kind of stuff. This was released on September 10th, 2001. That's a long time ago. Man. 9/11. Right the next day. I wonder if 9/11 affected the sales of this album, because I know that it did affect a lot. I mean, it affected the world. It changed the world, basically. The innocence of the 90s, it's gone. But yeah, 2001 this was released. Now I do see that this is the album that Rick Wakeman is not on, but we do still have the other classic lineup of Howe, Squire, and White, at least. And I know that you guys had mentioned this album specifically while we were listening to Time and a Word because that album features an orchestra. This album features an orchestra, the San Diego Symphony Orchestra. But you also do have, I guess, Igor Koroshev on keyboards as well. It says Close to the Edge on 2000 Borders reissue. Or maybe he's just featured on some reissues. Maybe? I don't know. We'll look into that later. But happy to listen to some more Yes. I mean, that's it's not a far cry. I'm always happy to listen to some more Yes. I'm excited to listen to this track, Magnification. I gotta say, looking at the album cover, it does make me miss a little bit of the Roger Dean stuff. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Strictly off the album cover, it's kind of boring album cover. I would like some Roger Dean art. I would like to abstract scenery this up a little bit. But I'm sure the music is good. We're going to find out really shortly. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you as always for watching. Let's do it. This is Yes with Magnification, the title track. I'm excited.
Days that we speak, I believe that you were right. Shouldn't chase the demons and the phantoms of the night. Some treat as lovers, some treat as slaves. This fusion of insight is all that we imagine. Speak to me clearly, you're the magnet to my soul. I get so distracted trying to reason with it all. Like a faithful line clinging to the edge of every world. Spinning in creation, so afraid to let my feelings really show. Teach me how the key unlocks the door. As we open, we surrender, holding hands with many more. There's a feeling that's coming, there's a feeling so real, to justify to
I'll pull it back a little bit when we go to the next track, Spirit of Survival. I'll pull it back a little bit. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. Not on this video. Spirit of Survival will come later at some point. First of all, I am biased, right? Listen, everyone in the world is biased, especially when it comes to music, okay? Especially with music. Yes, I'm 100% biased towards, in case you haven't noticed. I love that. I love their sound. I love their symphonic poetry. I love the positivity that the music injects. I love John's voice. I love the way he carries himself. I love his rhythmic dancing across the stepping stones as he's pacing himself in his singing. It's always a joy to listen to his delivery and his singing in general, the verses, the chorus, everything. I love the slightly smooth, jazzy guitar that Howe implements at later parts, filling in certain gaps through the orchestra. Speaking of the orchestra, they sound great. They enrich the music like a rich golden vein that some old miners just, give me that gold vein. I don't know. and then, obviously Squire, he's quite the catch when it comes to bass playing. He's quite the catch. Yes, that is a fish reference. One thing I noticed as I was listening to this is that when I'm listening to Squire, to me, on a first listen, it felt like Squire was the conductor of the orchestra. Because a lot of this symphony and the symphonic elements actually follow or build off of his bass line. Obviously, they're working with everybody, but I just felt like they are locked in to the groove of his rhythm. And his bass playing has always been very strong, very heavy. Not in a metal way, but in a performance directness kind of way. You feel his bass playing. And that tone that he gets out of that bass is always just enchanting to listen to. So there's something about the way that he leads the orchestra here that feels so good. I love the switch up as well in the track. I will admit that I do miss Wakeman or a dominant keyboard player. I would take Mraz. I'll take Mraz too. I do miss a dominant keyboard player, but I think the song still kicks. You know, I think it absolutely 100% still hits the exact right notes. Starts off very strong too and very quickly. I love the lightness of this verse. Almost a running through the woods kind of scenery, at least that I get. And even his delivery, the percussion that's being used there is very light, very moving, and just the pacing. There's something about that just makes me think of running the course, moving forward. And then this is hitting the stars, hitting the stride, hitting something out of space, out of mind, a deeper level. And yes, are one of those bands that I feel reaches and attains that deeper level, that higher altitude. And I'm talking high altitude. I'm talking cosmic altitude, spiritual altitude, if you will, and spiritual elevation. And then the ending, as we get there, I didn't mean to make that louder. So like, that's one of the moments where I feel the orchestra and Squire are just like moving, just like this avalanche of sound and notes and chords. Just put that in a quote. Just and then the ending of this particular track just absolutely crashes in a fiery blaze. But what a blaze of glory it is. That's good. And I also think that this track, I haven't heard any albums like between 90125 and this one. But this one does still have a somewhat poppy direction. And not poppy like in verse, chorus, break, whatever. But it's very, what's the word? There's a word. It's very accessible, I feel. I think it's really accessible, while still being very proggy. sounding like they're doing what they want to do, being very creative, and I think doing what they do best on here. Days that we speak, I believe that you are right. Shouldn't chase the demons and the phantoms of the night. Some treat as lovers, some treat as slaves. The fusion of insight is all that we imagine. As usual, I told you, symphonic poetry, John's lyrics, sometimes you can grab onto them and you know exactly what he's talking about. Sometimes it takes a little bit of spinning the hamster on the wheel. Speak to me clearly. Yeah, speaking of which, speak to me clearly. You're the magnet to my soul. I get so distracted to reason with it all. Like the faithful, I'm clinging to the edge of every world. Spinning in creation, so afraid to let my feelings really show. That, I think, is a really good verse. He says he gets distracted with the reason of it all, perhaps trying to find reasoning in everything. And then he says, like the faithful, I'm clinging to the edge of every world. Faith, you don't necessarily have evidence, but you have the faith that either it's there or something's happening. So he's clinging to the edge of every world on faith, perhaps different beliefs. Spinning in creation, so he still acknowledges a creation. He still thinks that there's something bigger. That's what I mean, that spiritual kind of altitude. But he's afraid to let his feelings really show. Maybe it's doubt. Maybe he's clinging to faith and he's losing it. Teach me to teach me how the keys unlock the door. As we open it, we surrender, holding hands with many more. As we open the door, we surrender like ourselves, because now we're going to find that truth behind the door. Holding hands with many more. You're not alone in your spiritual journey. There's a feeling that's coming. There's a feeling so real, to justify, to magnify, to realize that everything is love. There's your God. There's your God. Love is your God. Now, after all the love you have, you can always get it back, knowing how you really see, knowing it will come to you, knowing that it can really be. There's one thing that we can be assured of, and that is love. Magnification. First, you're smaller, being alive. Growing taller, learn to survive. Magnification. First, you're smaller, blah, blah, blah. So you're magnifying. You're getting down to the core, the chemistry. You're getting down to the atoms and seeing what makes you tick. And then you share that with everyone. Perception of living, I realize I'm not alone. The rings that divide us break again upon the stone. I will show you a necklace where the pearls would all be lost. Without the thread between together, this would be the golden thread of trust. You have to trust in each other. Not allow division to divide us. Speak to me, teach me, magnify the truth you are, waiting for the re-beginning, every birth of every star. A symbol is planted on the brow of every child to justify, magnify, because a child has an opportunity, typically a very fresh an opportunity or opportune time to make their lives what they will. A new chance is born with every child. Let me kind of repeat some of the lyrics there. Giving love, getting love. It's all about love. It's all love. That's what it comes down to in the end. Almost choked. Let me know what you guys thought of the track, though. Hope that you enjoyed it. You can let me know your thoughts in the comments. You can follow me in a bunch of places that I will make spin up right here on the screen. But otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful day, guys. I really appreciate you being with me here. You know, it's always a good time to listen to you guys. At least for me it is. I don't know about you, but it's always a good time for me. I will see you next time. Preferably tomorrow, but if not, I understand. You got things to do. You got work, you got kids. You got your jazzercise appointment. You got school. You got other things to watch. I understand, but maybe you'll come back. I love you guys. Bye.